the public what killed Miss Smith. Apparently, there are a few new pieces of evidence, but also in play is a possible criminal investigation. With us now, Alexander Hitchin, a senior reporter at the National Enquirer, and from West Palm Beach, Florida, Don Gentili, who also reports for the Enquirer. Mr. Gentili, begin with you because the action happened down South Florida today. You know, everybody thinks it was a drug cocktail combined with her condition. She had kind of a flu-like condition that killed her. You still standing by that?
Yeah. The Seminole Indians who are investigating Anna Nicole's death because she died at their casino, they put a big stop sign in front of Dr. Perper for several reasons. They recently took a trip to the Bahamas, and down there they questioned employees and friends of Anna Nicole. And they received reports that on several occasions Anna Nicole accused her live-in lawyer, Howard Stern, of causing Daniel's death, her son's death.
Yeah.
We learned something else too. We learned that in her hotel room where she died, Seminole police found a prescription for methadone, which was not in her name. And there's a third thing. Seminoles recently received into evidence a laptop computer that belonged to Anna Nicole Smith. Now, on this laptop computer are discussions about prescription drugs, discussions with doctors, discussions with Mr. Stern, discussions with friends, and actually Alexander knows a lot more about how this computer was obtained and why.
Okay. Alexander, give us an overview of what you think is important about this computer.
This computer could hold the key to everything. As Don said, this computer, which was brought to the United States by Ford Shelley.
Who's that?
Ford Shelley is the son-in-law of the owner of Horizons, which is the estate in the Bahamas.
Okay, so this guy brings over the computer. The Seminole authorities have it now. This is a computer Anna Nicole Smith used and typed in her diary or her thoughts or wishes or whatever.
Yes.
So they have it now.
Yes.
Now, you believe that that is what caused the investigating authorities on the Seminole land to say, we don't want to give you any information today, we're going to delay it. They want to look at that?
We have strong belief that that is correct.
Okay, but what would that have to do with the toxicology reports on what's in the woman's system?
Well, if I can just ask you just to go back to the computer contents, first of all. I did an interview with Ford where he told me that while she was still pregnant, she said, "Ford, I'm in fear of my life." She was convinced that she would be murdered. Now, she said, "Ford, if anything happens to me, I want you to get hold of that computer. And here's the password." So Ford and his wife went to the property, took 2 laptops. They wanted to make sure that her wishes were still there. They typed in the password. It was correct. And it's the contents of that laptop, those 2 laptops, that could be the key.
You don't know, he didn't tell you what they were?
I've had a long conversation with Ford, and in our next issue, we'll be explaining what Ford told us in detail.
So you don't want to tell us now, give us a little heads up on it? Let me ask you this. You don't have to give me the specifics. I don't want to ruin your scoop, but do you think this woman is a victim of foul play? Should there be a criminal investigation?
At the moment, there's an investigation, and it is very likely that something is going to come up of this where the police are going to be able to decide whether or not a crime has taken place.
What do you think down there, Mr. Gentili? Do you think that the police are looking at this as a criminal situation now?
I think when police look at anything, it's a criminal investigation. I think we're just dealing in semantics here. I might add that what the police stopped Dr. Perper from doing was issuing the classification. You know, in Florida there are 5 classifications: homicide, suicide, accidental, natural, and undetermined. He had come to a conclusion on a certain classification, and we'll reveal what conclusion he came to in our next edition. They stopped him from issuing that.
Right, okay. But you got to give me give me a little guidance. I'm going to both of you. Is this going to be an ongoing criminal investigation in your opinion, yes or no, Mr. Gentili?
Yes.
Is this going to be let me ask the same question, Alexander. Ongoing criminal investigation here?
Absolutely.
All right, you guys are both convinced that the police now are going to put in resources to find out if this woman was murdered?
Yes.
And you feel the same way, Mr. Gentili?
Murdered, or whether a criminal act was,
all right,
was
manslaughter, that kind of a thing. Drugs obviously involved, correct?
Drugs obviously involved.
All right. Okay, so we move the story along, and then we let it unfold. It never ends. Gentlemen, thanks very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
In a moment, is the Putin government in Russia executing journalists who may have information